Those were the two things that I wanted to present as an overview of creative nonfiction. It will have, or it should have, the typical story writing pattern about inciting moment, rising action, climax, and resolution. But also, in this particular case, when you write about something real, you should try to engage with the reader on an emotional level, create an empathetic response in the reader. And there are certain tools that we use for this particular purpose as well, which we will go through as we progress in the program. Okay. Now, did you guys get that? Any doubts so far? Okay. Let's go on to the next one. Ah, okay. The uniqueness of this particular genre. Like I said, typically we are used to having work that is either fiction and literary or something that is purely academic and logical. Okay. This is a blend of those two things. Okay. Not only should you write about something real, you're expected to use your imagination and your creative writing skills to present it, the final work, as both informative as well as entertaining. Those are the two things that you will have to fulfill. It has to be informative, but it also has to be entertaining as well. Okay. So Henry was telling me that he loves Agatha Christie books. Now, Agatha Christie's books, while extremely popular, they have a lot of information in that that could actually teach you about things that you have never been exposed to before. Okay. And that was her brilliance. And that is why she was knighted. And she ended up becoming the most prolific author of all time. So, during this particular course, I will be giving you some of those skills which you can actually see in her work. Okay? So, I was telling Henry about how they teach you today to use the show, not tell paradigm. Okay? You're actually told repeatedly, do not tell, do not tell. Try and use showing instead of telling. This is a modern paradigm, okay? And it has been used throughout academia. So, for the purpose of this particular contest and your future, whenever you try and write your application letters, I would recommend that you guys you try and keep to the show not tell paradigm, okay? And I'll be teaching you how you can do that on a large scale. You see that part that's been underlined? Coincidences, love stories, stories about loss, longing, things like that. Do you know what these are? Can you guess? These are the typically most commonly used themes in creative writing and in creative nonfiction writing too. These are what one would call universal themes. If you want, you can take it down right now as part of your notes. This will give you an idea of the kind of themes that you guys yourself can work around. Coincidences, and in bracket to coincidence, write shock value, shock value, and put a slash and write sensationalism. Coincidences, in bracket, shock value, slash sensationalism, which is basically what news are all about, right? So the next one, love stories. Obviously, that's self explanatory. So, next one, stories about loss, longing. Have you guys heard of a word called nostalgia? A very strong theme, a very strong theme. Okay. And then later, there are certain other themes that are not so common but extremely interesting. So they have a lot of potential. So if you guys can use those themes too, the chances of your succeeding are higher. So in the second set, cultural clash. Now, this is a theme that is a little difficult to write about because not everybody has had experiences of culture clash. Have you guys had any experience where you came into a particular setting in which something unique to you was going on? Have you ever had such a experience before? You had no idea that things could be done in such a manner. People were doing things so differently from what you guys were used to because their culture was different. Have you had that experience before? Second theme given there in the bottom is extremely popular across all genres of writing. Coming of age. Have you guys heard of this?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you guys even have heard of Harry Potter, you know, along with good versus evil, Harry Potter is all about coming of age, right? That's what coming of age means. But I will also go into a little more detail about coming of age themes and what it should have and why it is so powerful, but not right now. Okay? I'll explain that in detail later. The next one, problem resolution. This one, you might have heard the word before, right? Problem resolution. This would be any story where you explain an issue or a problem and how you either did it yourself or got the problem resolved. And that resolution of the problem would form the purpose of the story. Okay? Even that is present in the Harry Potter stories. The problem is Voldemort, right? And how that problem is solved forms the basic backbone of those stories. The next one is adventure. Okay. I seriously hope I don't have to explain that, right? Adventure is just people going out and experiencing something new, having fun. Get it? But also, in the case of this particular creative nonfiction genre, you are expected to do something, even though it is adventure, you're expected to do something extra, which I'll come across in the next slide. Okay, here. The two things that you are expected to do in order to submit a really good, professional, creative nonfiction work are these two things. They're actually quite common. It's there in pretty much any good story writing scheme. Research. Okay? While people might think, why should, we do a lot of research for a story, right? But no, that's not how it works. In order to increase the impact of your story, you have to do a lot of research because it shows in the detail of your setting. Okay? You will be expected to do a lot of research about the setting in which your story takes place. You cannot rely on memory alone. That's what they're trying to tell you. Okay? Sometimes you might have forgotten about the story, about those incidents that you are going to write on. Okay? So you need to do research to get details, facts accurately correct. Okay? Yes? And now we come to something that is a bit unique to this genre. That is, in creative nonfiction, the best write ups, which we will see when we analyze last year's winner, is reflection. Okay? Reflection, or also called contemplation in the English language, it is about writing clearly what kind of growth the writer himself or herself went through while experiencing the event you're going to write about.